We just need to give it more formalization. We also need to give it its own respect and say footballers that play there are not necessarily going to be the same footballers who make it on the grass because it's a different ball game. And you can't defend a Portugal in the same way you would defend on grass. You know that for a fact. How you gonna if someone you have volleyball,
Great run. He pulls it back. Rasmus Højlund. Thunderous. It's an absolute net buster.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Diski Preview Show. Your host, yours truly, uThisha. uThisha weDiski. And like always, I'm not riding alone. I'm riding with Umo, the guy that needs no introduction.
I know, man.
Welcome, Mo.
From the comment section last week, you can tell that I don't need an introduction anymore.
You don't, eh?
A lot of people want me dead. They're like, hey.
Well, but at least you got something right, EPTS.
Yeah, both teams to score.
Yeah, you got
in Egypt.
Yeah, you got something
that one
right,
was hot.
EPTS.
I also wanted to come back and say this for people who watched the Pirates Al Ahly one. I was not wrong about Pirates not winning that match. If there was VAR in Africa,
Hey, another talking
if there was
again.
VAR in Africa,
Yeah. That was a cool, eh?
if there was VAR in Africa,
First phase, second phase.
yeah, if there was VAR in Africa, that's all I'll say. And then back to the other game, which was Sundowns. I was not wrong about that one too.
And the Sundowns got the gang in the Sundowns. It's like they wanted a draw, eh?
Yeah, after they conceded, pack the pass. And you know what I love most about it? The fans of this channel came here and they made comments about Sundowns will never pack the pass. Never. And then they had 1-1. And then what did they do? Steve Compelati relax. Ronan Williams relax.
I see value more. Today we are not talking Champions
I'm touched
League.
about what you guys said last week.
Today we're not talking Champions League.
I'm just saying.
Today we're back to local.
You sure?
Yes, sir. Today we're doing a Nedbank Cup. Nedbank Cup is back again. First round, last 32. Yeah. In today's show, we'll be looking at the three fixtures, which is the big three, go PSL. I'm allowed to call them the big three. Young I'm
Morocco
sure.
Swallows.
The Swallows, in fact, is not even playing in the PSL. So big three. Sundowns. We have Sundowns.
Free State Stars.
Next thing you're going to be telling me Manning Rangers.
Oh.
In today's show, guys, we have in today's show, we have Mamelodi Sundowns, who will be going against Sibanye Golden Stars. That's our first game. The second game, we have Kaizer Chiefs. That will be playing Free Agents
FC.
And then in our last and final game, we have Richards Bay, who will be playing the defending champions, that is Orlando Pirates. Some exciting fixtures, but in all those three fixtures is David versus Goliath.
Richards Bay.
In Pirates.
David versus Goliath.
Please.
Stay tuned to find out if it is David versus Goliath in Richards Bay versus Orlando Pirates. I don't believe you, bro.
You don't believe me?
I don't believe
All right. Before we get to these games, if you don't have a Betfred account with us, simply open a Betfred account and get up to 500 free spins and up to 5,000 first deposit match and start betting.
Start betting right now. And don't forget, if you want to leave us a comment below, we do read all your comments, even the ones that are not savory, even the ones that are savory. So just leave us a comment below. Let us know what you're thinking of what we're talking about. There'll be a lot of things and a lot of talking points you're going to need for today. So be ready to pause, write down your comment, like the video, and of course, share the content. We'll see you when we come back.
All right, now on to our first game. Mamelodi Sundowns versus Sibanye Golden Stars.
Yeah, whoa.
Just a reminder, Orlando Pirates are defending champions of the Nedbank Cup. They were able to beat Mamelodi Sundowns by 2-1. And you remember, I think, to be fair, that's where Umfukeng really made a name for himself. That's when he started being noticed.
Yeah, I guess.
Remember that winning goal?
I guess that winning goal. I remember it, yeah. You want to talk about it? I don't talk about it. Say what you said earlier on about it.
Hey, that was the start of new things to happen.
Start of the end.
All right. Sundowns is facing Sibanye Golden Stars. What can we expect from this game?
What can we not expect? I mean, it's the Nedbank Cup. I think, as you see now, you're going to make stories about who's going to always reference. No, the Nedbank Cup is a very magical tournament because, It takes the teams that we don't see on TV every day and it puts them right there on TV against the biggest boys in the country. Unfortunately, we all know a team. So at this point of the tournament, we're expecting drama. We're expecting a lot of upsets because, a lot of these players, I mean, one thing that people don't actually take into account about these kind of teams, Sibanye and all that, some of these players were PSL quality players. But unfortunately, they didn't have the discipline, or unfortunately, they didn't have the focus, or, we all know a footballer who was playing in an academy at Sundowns, or Pirates, or Chiefs, or, whatever. And they couldn't make it, and they ended up being a Cup specialist or Sekasi. Batilang ama Phillies games, batilang ama, Manziville Cup, those kind of things. So this kind of tournament is full of players like that. And I'm expecting this match to be a good match. I don't expect a 28-0 with power lines. I expect at least, even if it's a defeat, it will be a decent one by 3-0 or 2-0. But you can expect these guys to also rock the finalists from last season, the Sundowns. Because what they'll always also do is Sundowns themselves will try and rest some players. They have a lot of reflecting to do after what happened in the CAF Champions League. Not saying they didn't qualify. We know they qualified. But they still have to go do a lot of reflecting on how they qualified. So a lot of players will be rested. A lot of players will be given a chance. And, some exciting talents also from the side of Sundowns will be on the pitch on that day.
Yeah. Speaking of about 24-0, we remember Sundowns, that record, that 24-0 scoreline against Powerline FC. That was the first and the last we actually seen such like a high-scoring game. What do you think has happened? Do you think these teams from Ekasi have really improved their standards, or like you say now, we see it's a chance for a team like Sundowns to rest their regular players and bringing the B side? Or what do you think is happening?
I think what's happening is that football is not so amateur in the country anymore. Meaning that a lot of footballers who have the passion to play, just because they didn't get into a Sundowns, a Chiefs, or a team playing in the PSL, doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to get into a team like this and make an income out of it. Because nowadays, there's enough football legends having tournaments around the country. Abo Junior Kanya have tournaments. Abo Kilampela have tournaments all the way down there in Brits. Those are just a few names of players that have a tournament around the country. The nice thing about them is that these tournaments don't happen all at once. They're happening at least every 3 weekends, every 2 weekends. They're becoming more frequent, actually, if you paying attention to Ikasi football and how it's structured at the moment. So there's enough tournaments for footballers, there's enough tournaments for teams to actually create an income. Because even let's say a tournament, for example, any legend, let's say, any legend at the moment. Let's say I'm a legend, I have a tournament. There's a tournament this week. There's nothing stopping you from playing my tournament and playing your tournament next week. If you win both, chances are you could be walking away 300,000 rand in cash prizes. So for them, it's become a thing of, it's a very sustainable business in terms of having a teammate that can play. I've seen teams play. I've seen Black Mambas play 3 tournaments in 1 weekend, which was ridiculous for me. But from what they explained, it worked out. Bapume Davidson, by Krugersdorp, by Manziville, Manziville, and the tournament organizers accommodate such teams and say, you know what, a kickoff is about 9. Then the kickoff next other side will be at 10. But it also allows them to have squad depth, because those teams can have up to 50 players on their roster, depending on who's available and who's not. So a lot of the players, before we used to have, you haven't made it in professional football in South Africa, so but now at least there's an opportunity to play a Makasi tournament and actually create an income from playing week in, week out.
But now, with everything that you've just said, we've seen a couple of players, Babatase Kasi, and they bring them into these big teams, go PSL.
And they go back.
2 months later, he's back to playing Epokwini. Do you think Upoku has become...
I think we have to give it my opinion of this thing is we need to give it its own, like how there's beach football. Beach soccer is not the same as soccer. 5-a-side. In some countries it's called futsal. And in some countries they treat it like its own sporting code. They don't say it's a sub-product of soccer. It is a sub-product of soccer, but the rules are different. I think Eputwini needs to be formalized. You understand? We need to have its own PSL. It needs to have its own formalities. The balls have to be specially made. The reason why I'm saying this is that we have a product in South Africa that's quite unique. It's a different surface altogether. It doesn't behave like grass. Young tall. Mapasi pola lapha is not the same as grass. And the first thing is you have to remember that when you play on grass and when you play there, it's different. If you try to play this bounce, play bounce and fit. Can you handle that pressure? I have to put this ball down. And if you look at the movements, they're a lot more different than the movement when you're watching an 11-a-side game with Sundowns. Yes, then the ball moves different, the players move different. So I think we have to give it the respect it deserves to say it is a form of football, but it's played on a different surface. Same way there's in tennis, there's clay and there's turf. Same way with horse racing, there's turf and then there's, I forgot what they call it, poly or turf. So I think as South Africans, we enjoy Ipola Seputui. We just need to give it more formalization. We also need to give it its own respect and say footballers that play there are not necessarily going to be the same footballers who make it on the grass because it's a different ball game. And you can't defend a Potui in the same way you would defend on grass. You know that for a fact. How you gonna if someone you volleyball and there's no way the grass the grass will grab my cocks. You can stop immediately. A Potui in Melo adjust and even though it's a la mavel. So it's a different ball game. So I think with that being to answer your question, if I'm a footballer and I excel there, the chances of me excelling on grass are there, but it's not the same way. Because the satisfaction, like, I won't have the same aptitude for grass as I do Eputwin, especially if I've played Eputwin my whole life. Because the movements and the technical skills I need to excel there will not be the same on grass.
I mean, if we had the same show, let's say 3 years back,
yeah,
and we spoke about this fixture. We are currently talking about Sundowns going against Sibanye, Golden Stars. I mean, we'd be like, the players would want to prove to Sundowns management which they're capable of playing for Sundowns, and they'll be motivated coming to this fixture so that maybe they can stand up for selection with the Sundowns back heads. But now we're seeing things are different now. These boys are coming to this game to fight. They want to beat Sundowns, and for them, it's more about beating Sundowns and having those backing runs than for them joining Sundowns.
I mean, the reality is that more and more legends are retiring and wanting to start their own teams. More and more businessmen in South Africa are interested in buying soccer teams. So there's a lot more interest in the industry itself, and there's a lot more people investing in the industry itself. So at least you're looking at a different ball game where before it was this rich guy he's complaining with let me start a team. Let me put them in a team, but now it's a different ballgame because these people are playing for their livelihoods. So the reality is that football has come a long way. I think we need to, appreciate the fact that the status of South African football has gotten this far, where in the Nedbank Cup we can see teams like this coming in, where we, as fans, we have to go research who's buying, where are they from,
NFD,
what are they playing from, how did they get here? Is that the reality of that actually? Young Kutaza as a fan of the game because I look at them and I say, listen, we also won't say that Sundowns is this untouchable team because in reality is that football is football. We all play with 11 players. We play on the same pitch. We play with one ball. So at the end of the day, I think, yes, Sundowns fans, I'm not saying you're going to lose the game, but I'm saying don't expect to see a team that can't defend. Don't expect to see a team that can't score. Don't expect to see players that can't trap or pass. You understand? The reality is that these guys got here for a reason. And they're going to show Sundowns that they're here for a reason. How many times in the past have you seen other big teams in South Africa? I don't want to say the name because people will be like, Mo, as always. So how many teams have we seen in the past in South African football that have come to this tournament thinking, no, we are the league leaders, we're the league champions. You understand? It's going to be an easy pass.
Become humble. I mean, most teams have made their names in this very same cup.
Exactly. By beating big teams.
Exactly. You look at cup, it's where we manage Carling. I mean, Carling was won by Emagesi. If before the tournament, I asked you more, who's going to win the tournament? I can bet you would have mentioned your Pirates, your Sundowns, your Stellenbosch, Bosch. But that never happened. In fact, Emagesi, the new boys, they beat Pirates, they beat Sundowns to win that cup. So do we expect the same thing to happen here with Nedbank Cup? Or mind you, Uti Pirates is defending this cup. So Pirates would really want to defend it. They want to keep this cup.
But do you think Pirates' priorities are in this cup anymore? I mean, they just made it out of the group stages of the Champions League, top of the group, ahead of Al Ahly. Yes, then. Do you think that the ambitions are still here? Do you think that the chairman is sitting down with Riviero and saying, for now, I need the Nedbank Cup? Or is he saying that if it go to Africa and bring that thing back? Because I was watching a video earlier on and the fans were speaking. They were saying, look, if we look at Pirates, we have to judge Pirates based on Pirates standards. Pirates is a big team. They're not cup specialists like Abo Super Sports United. That's what the guy said, not me. So at the end of the day, the expectation is still that they have to perform at Champions League. They have to perform in the league. I mean, for about a few weeks, they were top of the league. You understand? So if they bring back a Nedbank Cup and lose the other two, the fans and the chairman and the players and the coach will feel very, very disappointed about the season. But if they go and they win those two and sacrifice this one, the reality will be they'll be happy. There'll be jubilation in the team. They'll be saying, listen, we achieved great things this season. And that's what the fans are missing. The fans miss being the main dogs, being the main team. And for the longest time, it's been Sundowns. But we're talking about Sundowns. Let me not get carried away about Pirates. But yeah, for Sundowns, they will have to come into this game with a perspective. I believe they'll rest players. They'll give the youngsters a chance to go out and play. Obviously, the most dangerous thing about that is that you're giving players who are hungry the opportunity to play. So even the Sundowns players will want to prove a point, would say, I belong in the first team. So that creates a blend of a very exciting game, if you ask me.
I mean, there's a couple of Sundowns guys we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
The likes of Abo, Lodge. I mean, this is the game.
This is the game to play a lot.
Let the coach bring him in. Let's see what does he still have.
Yeah, why is he not playing? We want to see. Why is he not playing? Put him in. Let's see. So that's the thing. This game is going to be a big one. But also, don't forget that Sibanye Golden Stars made it here by winning 4-0 in the last round against Mbombela United. So it's not like it's pop and flays. They don't know how to score goals, Chief. They know how to score goals.
And to be fair, Sundowns, I think Sundowns also needs this Nedbank Cup. As much as you did mention earlier on with the likes of Pirates and Sundowns, they're focusing on Champions League. But you also do need silverware at home. I mean, you're not guaranteed in Champions League. So at least if you balance when a cup A1, domestic cup, even if you maybe, let's say, you be knocked out in the semi-finals of Champions League, at least you got something to show. We say, at least we have a cup. If Pirates has that in the M10-8, I think the Sundowns will be wanting. But again, there's 31 hungrier teams also who also want this Nedbank Cup. So it makes Nedbank Cup very interesting. And the Champions League is on pause for now. So all focus is on the league and this Nedbank Cup.
I mean, one thing about this cup that I love so much, I remember a few seasons ago, maybe last season if I'm not mistaken, it had been a while since I'd seen University of Pretoria. Itax. And I thought Itax was gone, man. I was like, Itax, they probably don't even have a team anymore. If it's don't have a team anymore. Chigi, here these guys doing it in the Nedbank Cup. Chigi, here these guys fighting for promotion against Richards Bay FC. You understand? So the Nedbank Cup also for me is a quick look as to who you can expect to see challenging for the playoffs when it comes the end of the season, trying to get into the PSL. So the more these teams take Upper Sundowns to a 1-0, 2-0 result, the healthier South African football is. And the more motivation there is for our team as a cast to carry on doing what they're doing. You understand? No longer are we living under that culture. Uyaspan is a security guard. Une team yakhe. Maybe Saturday you feel like sometimes I feel like sometimes short on transport, phone. You understand? Those realities are now going away because things like this open up doors, create revenue for these teams. And that's what I love the most, that these teams will grow. More teams will come into the picture and more legacies will be built. And we won't have to rely on just, those big names that we have. The same names that I was mentioning before you said, no, this big three. You understand? We miss those teams. Where's Manning Rangers? Want them to come back. You understand? Celtic, want them back. You understand?
I heard Celtic might be coming back.
Yeah, Cosmos, want them back. Vasco, want them back, Chief. So at least with this kind of tournament, with the money that's being put into the Nedbank Cup, with the opportunities that the Nedbank Cup is creating, I'm hoping that more teams will come back to life and we'll start to see familiar names again.
Or not even familiar, these new names that are coming up.
Yeah, more FC.
Nice. I mean, look now. Hey, yeah. No more. With all that said, do we give Sibanye a chance? Let's put your head on the block. What do you think what's the prediction for this game?
Do you give them a chance, Chief? I've been wrong for the past few weeks, So I'll just go for Sundowns in case, it's opposite month.
Sundowns win.
Yeah, Sundowns win. I don't think it'll be much. I think it'll be over 2.5, but it won't be that many. Guys, I think those goals will also come in the second half.
Guys, you heard more. That's his prediction. Do you agree or do you disagree with Mo's prediction? He's saying Sundowns is walking away with the win from this game, and they're going to score over 2.5 goals. That's 3 goals and above. And in the second half. Plus Sundowns is scoring in the second half these days, eh?
Yeah, very much so. But you know why I'm saying goals over 2.5? It could happen that Sibanye opens the scoring.
Sure.
It could happen.
All right. Things do happen. Things happen. Guys, you heard more.
I would really say that. I think it's one of those things where Riviero has goals. I think personal goals at this point. I don't think he built this team to win the Nedbank Cup. Not saying that they can't. They can. They definitely can from what we've seen. But I don't think he's going to put his best talents on the field.